Hello, BookTube. Well, it's been a trying morning. I've I've learned on Twitter that no man can be a good editor and no woman can be a bad writer. That was tough to learn for two different reasons. I've been told by editors that men who have spent their entire adult lives writing in any venue that would have them, pieces attacking women, black people, Jewish people, cannot be called bigots in a review if they're in the White House. And on top of that, I have an old, deaf, blind basset hound who crapped in the bed and peed on the floor while I was cleaning the crap from the bed. So it's been a bit of a trying morning, in addition to which, of course, it's drizzly and cold. So I thought, what better way to make myself feel better about it all than to sit down with a mail haul and just chat with all of you. So that's what we're going to do. There's a mail haul from this morning, and it's not very big, but it doesn't need to be to pick up my spirits. It's just so frustrating. The least comment of mine, tossed off in a moment of distraction and not well thought out, can be used against me as a cudgel for the rest of my life. Whereas, if you write articles for Breitbart decrying the Jewish agenda for 30 years, you can't be called a bigot. It's just... So let's retreat into the world of books, where we can talk about that, and there's no trouble at all. And the first one I want to open is not only Dayglow, which is really nice, but it has a flying saucer on it. Can't beat that for picking up a mood. So I'm guessing this is going to be a children's book or a young adult title. Although, in my opinion, that logo should appear on every book package. Imagine how much less boring all of Russian Revolution books would be if they had a flying saucer on the cover. But anyway, let's see what we have here. Okay, there's two things here. There's an elaborate press package. Okay, so there's an elaborate press package with a folder and everything. But the book itself is Landscape with Invisible Hand by M.T. Anderson. The cover says rather improbably that he's the National Book Award winner. I don't recall that. National Book Award winner, there it is again. M.T. Anderson returns to the future Earth in a sharply wrought satire of art and truth in the midst of colonization. When the first VUV landed, it came as a surprise to artist Adam and the rest of the planet, but not necessarily an unwelcome one. After all, can it really be called an invasion when the VUV generously offered free advanced technology and cures for every illness imaginable? As it turns out, yes. With his parents' jobs replaced by alien tech and no money to pay for food, clean water, or the miraculous VUV medicine, Adam and his girlfriend Chloe have to get creative to survive. And since the VUV are obsessed with classic Earth culture, doo-wop music, still life paintings of fruit, and true love, recording 1950s-style dates with the VUV to watch in a pay-per-minute format seems like a brilliant idea. That does seem like a brilliant idea. You can't beat them. But it's hard for Adam and Chloe to sell true love when they hate each other more than with every passing episode. All right. Soon enough, Adam must decide how far he's willing to go and what he's willing to sacrifice to give the VUV what they want. Okay. All right. All right, so I have to consult this thing. I can't go to the book. I have to consult this enormous folder all here. So this comes out in September. It's going to have a massive publicity campaign behind it. It'd be really nice if I knew what M.T. Anderson won the National Book Award for. Is it Symphony for the City of the Dead? Was that it? Yeah. No? Yes? The Sympathy for the City of the Dead was very good. It was about Shostakovich and the siege of Leningrad. I wonder if did that win the National Book Award? It was well, Heavens to Murgatroyd. This is just all over the map. I will Google him. That's the classic 21st century answer. But that's good to know. I mean, because that means he wrote a book I really, really liked. So I will... Landscape with Invisible Hand is the title of the book. I think we can all agree that title is a mistake. It's as boring as could be. When, for instance, True Vov would have been much better. But nobody consults me about these things. So let's move on to package number 2. What is package number 2? Oh, good. Oh, good. It's a Steve book. It's The Great Rescue, American Heroes, An Iconic Ship, and Saving Europe During World War I by Peter Hernon. When war broke out in Europe in August 1914, the new German luxury ocean liner, the SS Vaterland, was interned in New York Harbor, where it remained docked for nearly 3 years, until the United States officially entered the fight to turn the tide of war. Seized by authorities for the U.S. Navy once war was declared in April of 1917, the liner was renamed the USS Leviathan by President Woodrow Wilson and converted into an armed troop carrier that transported thousands of American expeditionary forces to the battlefields of France. For German U-boats hunting Allied ships in the treacherous waters of the Atlantic, no target was prized as the Leviathan, which carried more than 10,000 doughboys per crossing. But the Germans were not the only deadly force threatening the ship and its passengers. In 1918, a devastating influenza pandemic, the Spanish flu, spread throughout the globe, predominantly striking healthy young adults, including soldiers. So this is the whole story of the Leviathan. How fascinating. It's a whole book about that one subject. I've only read it in little lines here and there in World War I histories. Great. Okay, fantastic. So this must come out in April. April 1917, baby. Hoo-hoo. Couple of gigantic anniversaries. The Russian revolutions, of course, and America's entry into World War I. Just a flood of books coming out. No, this comes out in mid-June. Okay. All right, that's odd. That's a little odd, but doesn't matter. That's great. I can't wait. I will probably prioritize that. Then this thing here. Boy, between this channel and SFF 180's Mailbag Monday, you're getting a slew of forthcoming books. That's good. I hope that's interesting. I certainly love doing it. So what do we got here? Oh, fantastic. Oh, fantastic. All right. This comes out on April 4th. That day, that one day that we keep mentioning on this channel. I have virtually 100 books that are coming out on April 4th. A bit of a bottleneck. I don't think they all are, but this one, talk about prioritizing. This is called Prussian Blue by Philip Kerr. This is a Bernie Gunter novel. He's a Philip Marlowe style, wisecracking, down on his luck police detective during Nazi Germany, and he's constantly watching out for himself, looking over his shoulder at the monstrous power structure that has taken over his country, while also solving murders that crop up, that continue, because murder doesn't take a holiday, as someone famous once quipped. And look at this. This is the biggest Bernie Gunter novel that I think has ever been written. I don't recall one that's ever been longer than this. Fantastic. Oh my God. I cannot recommend these books highly enough if you like historical murder mysteries, especially if you like historical murder mysteries and you haven't read the Bernie Gunter novels. You're missing a decided treat. Start with the one-volume anthology called Berlin Noir, and just move on from there. You'll be glad you did. But let's see what this is. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, The French Riviera, 1956. It's been 2 years since Bernie Gunter fled Berlin with false identity papers. Another winter looms, and the hotel where he works will soon be closing for the off-season, leaving him adrift. Then an invitation to dinner arrives. Curious, Bernie accepts, only to find his host is Erich Mielke, the deputy head of Stasi. The two men have a long and acrimonious history. 5 months earlier, Milk has set Bernie up as the fall guy in a sophisticated sting to protect a spy deeply implanted in M15. And the ploy worked, though Bernie had to talk his way out of a bad spot. But there's still a problem. The Stasi agent who played a key role in the sting is a loose end. Bernie must eliminate her. Bernie is no fool. He knows he is also a loose end and will be next on the hit list. Prussian Blue, Philip Kerr's deft excursion into the belly of the beast. The only problem with these books, it creeps even into the publicity material, is that Philip Kerr and his translators never met a cliche that they didn't like. There are literally hundreds of them, like mosquitoes. You have to swat them away when you're reading the book. But the books are so good that I just that would ordinarily be a kiss of death for me. That'd be the reason why I'd be telling you to avoid them. But in this case, they're so entertaining as popcorn literature that you can put up with it. If I can put up with it, you can put up with it. But anyway, we're the Prussian Blue. Philip Kerr's deft excursion into the belly of the beast follows two parallel tracks. One, set in 1956, is a heart-stopping survival story. Bernie is a man on the run and the prey of a skilled hunter. In the other, Bernie is the hunter. It's April 1939, and in 1 week, Hitler will arrive at Berchtesgaden to celebrate his 50th birthday. But in the prohibited area, which is off-limits to all but the most carefully screened, a civil engineer has been shot dead on the terrace of the leader's private residence, and the gunman is still at large. Martin Bormann, who controls everything on the mountain, knows he needs a professional detective. If the killer remains at large, Hitler will never return to his mountain, and Bormann will be stripped of his power. Enter Commissar Bernhard Gunther. He has 1 week to solve the case. He can forget about sleep. And that's great, because that means you know the two cases will be connected across 20 years. That's fantastic. Oh, my. Okay. Talk about prioritizing. So that's Prussian Blue in a finished copy. That's great. So now we move on to the last one. This has perked up my spirit. Thank you very much for indulging me. What is this? Oh my. Oh goodness gracious. Okay, this is going to be of far more urgent interest to some of you than it is to me. This is The Rise and Fall of Dodo, D.O.D.O. by Nicole Gallant and Neil Stephenson. Big thick thing. This comes out in June. In a major publishing event, the incomparable #1 New York Times bestselling author Neil Stephenson teams up with the critically acclaimed writer of historical and contemporary fiction, Nicole Gallant, for a captivating and complex near-future thriller combining history, science, magic, mystery, intrigue, and adventure that questions the very foundations of the modern world. So DODO stands for Department of Diachronic Operations. And the story starts when Melisande Stokes, an expert in linguistics and languages, is approached by military intelligence operator Tristan Lyons with an incredible top-secret offer that will spark a chain of events that will alter their lives and human history itself. Tristan needs Mel to translate some very old documents, which turn out to be earth-shattering. They prove that magic actually existed and was practiced for centuries before the arrival of the scientific revolution, the age of the Enlightenment, and the rise of industrial technology and commerce weakened magic's power and endangered its practitioners until magic stopped working altogether in 1851. Not coincidentally the date of my first marriage to Deb, when the magic definitely died. Something about the modern world jams the frequencies used by magic, and it's up to Tristan to find out why. So the Department of Diachronic Operations, DODO, gets cracking on its real mission to develop a device that can bring magic back and send diachronic operatives back in time to keep it alive, and meddle with a little history at the same time. But while Tristan and his expanding operation master the science and build the technology, they overlook the mercurial and treacherous nature of the human heart. Okay. The basic plot line there, those of you who read a lot more fantasy and science fiction than I do, the basic plot line that the Enlightenment killed magic and that once upon a time it worked just fine, that the Enlightenment and the Industrial Revolution killed magic but that it once upon a time worked just fine. I have seen that before, right? We have seen that before. What's the book? There's a famous one, it's right on the tip of my tongue, that has that as its premise. Not that it particularly matters, right? I mean, you don't need an original premise. The whole heart and soul of it is how it's done. So I guess we'll see. So the rise and fall of Dodo by Neil Stephenson. If one of you is a Neil Stephenson, uber fan, I would love to hear from you. Prussian Blue by Philip Kerr, The Great Rescue by Peter Hernon, and Landscape with Invisible Hand by M.T. Anderson. What a variety. That's great. So that is our little distracting mail haul for now, and I'll be back with many more videos. Thank you, BookTube, as always, for your patience.